Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. Hope everybody is having a good day. Hope everybody is enjoying their Thursday afternoon. Of course, this is when we're streaming this live. Shouts out to everybody in the chat. Thank you for everybody that may be on their lunch break or at work. Appreciate you listening. Won't be a long show, but we do have to talk about day number 2 of a Saints training camp. There's some storylines coming out of Saints training camp after day 2. We all were excited. Day 1 gave us Michael Thomas hitting the training camp practice field for the first time in nearly 2 years. And, and also, just the possibilities of what this team can actually be. Day 2 gave us a little bit of a surprise as well, because if you've been following media sources, individuals that were out there, they're talking about second-year player Peyton Turner. He was the standout in day 2 of Saints training camp, and that's the type of stuff that you want to hear. When you think about Peyton Turner, you think about a guy who joined the team last year, but to be honest with you, you don't really talk that much about him. I mean, when you talk about the Saints defense and you talk about like some of the things that they can do defensively, this guy named rarely even comes up. I mean, it's almost like as if he really doesn't exist in our minds when it comes to like guys that can be productive or guys that we're looking forward to see go out there and play. But Peyton Turner did talk to the media, and he talked a little bit about his injury and some of the setbacks he had and his overall thought pattern as of right now. Here it is.
Yeah, I'd say it's my second. I had ACL my senior year of high school, kind of dropped off recruiting and everything. Came back, dropped 20 in 4 months. Yeah, 20 points, 4 months off the ACL. Came back for basketball season, but no, I'd say second. I had like a little foot surgery sophomore year of college, but that's it. But definitely, this is definitely, I'd say, the most frustrating for me, just because of the level and the stage I'm at in my life and where I wanted to be, and then got taken away.
So as you can see, I mean, he's been through those situations in the past. I mean, he had injuries when we talk about tearing his ACL when he was in high school, but he still looked on the bright side. I like Peyton Turner. Peyton Turner, he seems like a well-spirited guy. Seems like he's very confident in himself, and he always had talent. The issue was the injury history. It's kind of the same thing when you think about Marcus Davenport. A guy that has like all the tools to be a really great interior lineman, or a defensive end, not interior lineman, but he can do both. But this is a guy who can do a little bit of both. I'm talking Marcus Davenport. He's a guy that can be dominant. And this guy could be the same way. He kind of built the exact same way. He's about 6'6", 6'7", just like Davenport is. The guy can really be a really good player if he can put it all together. But you got to stay healthy, man. You got to stay healthy. You can have all the skills and talent in the world, but if you can't get on the field, there's nothing more that anybody can do for you. So he talked about, being on a professional level, being in the NFL and having an injury and very early in his career. It kind of gets into your mind, right? Because you don't want to get hurt. You're trying to establish yourself as a dominant player in the National Football League. But if he can put it all together and he can stay healthy, then I think he should be just fine. Another person that, another player rather that was discussed was football player. I don't even want to call him, quarterback or tight end. I'm talking Taysom Hill. Dennis Allen answered the question about Taysom Hill and the conversation that he had with Taysom when he decided to, make the switch, telling Taysom that maybe you're gonna, you're not going to be playing as much quarterback, but we're going to try to see if we can get you on the field in another capacity. This is what he said.
I think Taysom's one of those team players that's willing to do anything that the team needs him to do to win. And so yeah, we had a conversation, and I think ultimately, Taysom likes playing the quarterback position. That's what he's played all his life. But sometimes you have to be unselfish for the team, and he's been outstanding in terms of that. And he'll do anything that we ask him to do in terms of helping the team win.
So he talked about Taysom Hill. You know, Taysom Hill is a team player, and you know, I'm pretty sure Taysom wants to be a quarterback. I mean, that's what he came into the league to do, and he got some experience doing that. You know, I think that it's time for Taysom Hill to realize that as long as he's going to be in the National Football League, nobody is really going to give him a chance at being a starting quarterback. I'm just being honest. I mean, this is a guy who's been in the league for quite some time, and he's in his early 30s, and you have yet to really have a fair, you know, I don't want to say a fair, but you've had opportunities where you can go out there and play the quarterback position, and you did okay. But it isn't like something that teams feel they can't find in the draft or find on some other team. I think that if Taysom Hill wants to be in the National Football League, if he wants to prolong his career, he's going to have to embrace some of these other roles that the Saints have for him. Because as talented as Taysom Hill is, I don't think that Taysom Hill would see the field if he didn't have a coach like Sean Payton who's seen something in him and seen all the talent that he possesses. You know, Taysom Hill has made a lot of money throughout his career because of his ability to do so many different things. I mean, his new contract is a different contract like none other because of the talent and the different things that he can do. Me personally, I feel like being a tight end kind of fits his skill set. Being on special teams kind of fits his skill set. He's a physical guy. He's fast. You know, he's powerful. And I just think that the tight end position is a good place for him. And especially if you want to stay in the National Football League for the foreseeable future, because you can continue to say, I want to be a quarterback, I want to be a quarterback, I want to be a quarterback. But teams are going to be like, you know, yeah, we have you at quarterback, but you're not going to really see the field. You're not going to really see the field at the quarterback position because nobody is really going to give you that chance, especially at what they saw when you were a starter. Like I said, he did some good things, but it's not anything that just stood out that you feel like you can't get from another quarterback out there. So I think Taysom Hill being a tight end could be beneficial to his career. We know that he can play special teams. I mean, he's blocked punts. He's been, you know, he's made tackles in key moments. So I think that's a good spot for him. I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do at the tight end position. But I'm about to go ahead and go to the comments. Feel free to chime in. Let me know what you think about training camp. What are some of the things that you're looking forward to, or some of the things that you feel, about Peyton Turner and Taysom Hill? We're going to start with Ramsey. Ramsey says, good afternoon, TJ Jones. Welcome back. And Mike T, we have to wait and see in the real games if he's there. Yeah. Look, man, I don't know why. I don't know how Michael Thomas has developed this reputation. Like, this man is just, we don't know. Like, this dude is a beast, man. I don't think people understand this, right? The dude worked extremely hard, and he has been grinding for months. You know what I'm saying? For years, basically. You know what I'm saying? To get to this point. Almost a year. I mean, people are just acting like this dude was just a straight scrub. When this dude is on the field, like, even when this dude was hurt, like, even when he was out there, I mean, I don't think people realize this. When the Saints beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in 2020, 38-3, this man had a bum ankle and he went for 100 yards on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I mean, I'm going to say that again. This dude was on a bum ankle and went for 100 yards against a team that ended up winning the Super Bowl when it was all said and done. So if this dude can do that when he was at 65, 70%, probably, you know what I'm saying, on some pain injection to numb the pain, this man is out here close to 100%, if he is not 100%, and people are concerned about that, I'm not. You know, I don't want him to have a setback, but the dude had one injury, and it was it was a deltoid injury. And I'm encouraging people to check out the State of the Saints podcast a little bit later on this afternoon, if you're watching this live on a Thursday afternoon, I'm going to be talking to Dr. Jesse Morris, and he's going to be breaking down the significance of that deltoid injury and how it can affect you. I just think when people think about their ankle, they think about their own, right? If you ever play basketball and you try to go up for a rebound, you come up sideways, or you try to dunk, or you come down, your ankle turns sideways. I think people just look at it that way. But when we talk about ligaments, that's a tough hill to climb. But I am not going to treat this dude like he a China doll, and I'm definitely ain't about to treat this dude like he trash or he just, some mediocre wide receiver that we just happy to be back and going to give you this. And like, this dude is a really good player, and I'm not concerned about his health at this particular point. I think that the motivation that this dude have, the motivation of people saying all those things they said about him, talk about he damaged goods, Saints fans, some of them saying he need to be traded, or other teams saying he need to be traded. People writing him off, saying that he not even in the best wide receiver discussion no more. All that stuff is just motivation. The last time Michael Thomas felt this motivated was when he was a rookie, when he felt like he should have been a first-round draft pick and he wasn't. And he had the whole campaign, hashtag because he was like, don't say nothing, you know what I'm saying? Watch me roll up in this room. So I'm not concerned about Michael Thomas like some people are. I mean, people are acting like this dude, like, I don't know, like he not that guy, I think that the dude is a really good player, talented, and as the weeks go by, I think people are not going to be concerned about if he can do it anymore. It's going to be a matter of how long he can do it. What's good, TJ? Have you broken down the Saints schedule and what record we're going to be? No, I haven't broke that down yet. That's coming in the next couple of weeks. So plan on just doing a whole show dedicated to that. I couldn't get the press conference. Well, it's available right now on YouTube. They had, I want to say, I know Ryan Ramczyk talked, Peyton Turner, Dennis Allen. Those some of the guys that I seen talking live. So, well, at least Peyton Turner is coming around. Marcus Davenport is hurt. Last year, Peyton Turner was injured. Yeah, but the good thing about it is Davenport was out there along with Pete Warner, but they was doing some individual work. They were out there doing some individual work, but they were out there, so that's a good sign right there. If it was like something like really, really bad, I mean, you probably wouldn't have seen them. You probably would have seen them. Well, you probably would have heard that they were just rehabbing. But the fact that Pete Warner was out there and the fact that Marcus Davenport was out there, even though they were off to the side doing their own little thing, they still out there getting some work in. So that's a plus. Hey, Barbara, one eye on the computer at work and the other eye on the SOTS podcast. Well, I appreciate that, Linda. And I appreciate that. Shouts out to everybody that's working at 9 to 5. Appreciate you listening, and I thank you for your support. Stroll down a little bit. Once again, it's not going to be a long show, folks. I just wanted to kind of talk and get people's thoughts about the day 2 of training camp. Taysom Hill is the best gadget guy in the league. Plug him anywhere but quarterback. I think you can plug him in at quarterback at times, I mean, it's not like he can't throw the ball, period. I just think that a quarterback, if you're going to be a starter, you have to possess like certain skills, that some backups other guys just can't have. You got to have certain instincts. You got to have good footwork. I think that Taysom can do some things at quarterback. I just don't think that the way he plays the quarterback position could be sustainable. I just think that people going to figure him out, or it's going to be like moments where it just looks like he doesn't belong out there. Like, as good, as decent, as he did in some of those games, probably his best game to me, probably when they played the Jets. But, I mean, who don't look good against the Jets? But I just think that you have to have certain qualities. If the Saints put him at quarterback for like a play or something like that, I think that he'll be able to make the play. But I'm just saying, like, as a starting quarterback, I think that ship has sailed. I don't think anybody's going to ever give him a chance. If Taysom Hill wants to stay in the league, in my humble opinion, he gonna have to embrace what he's doing right now, because that's the only way he's gonna stay in the league. And he'll get jobs, but people are gonna want him to do the exact same thing the Saints are having him to doing now. I am so bummed I won't get to go to training camp. Well, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that, Barbara. But the good news is you have so many guys out there, the reporters. They got wall-to-wall coverage. If you're on Twitter, if you're not, I encourage you to do so. Ross, you have Nick, you got Fletcher Mackel, you got, so many other people out there, they're on the ground right now giving us great content and giving us great information. Shouts out to my guy Rod Walker. He out there as well doing his thing. So, I mean, they got some guys out there that's giving you wall-to-wall coverage. And shouts out to those brothers, man, because, I'm able to, get in contact with them and ask them questions and stuff like that about what's going on, and they're nice enough to give me some information. So shouts out to those brothers, man. But they have information that's available on social media, while they're at practice in real time. In my opinion, Dennis Allen doesn't have the coaching talent that Sean Payton has. That's why I see a farm in Jameis Winston. I'm not sure what you mean by a farm. I get what you're saying. If a coach is, if you got a great coach, you got yourself a great asset. But I put it like this. I'm gonna just be 100. Okay, LSU a couple of years ago won a national championship. Ed Orgeron was the head coach. I like Ed Orgeron. Like, if you ever listen to Ed Orgeron talk or do an interview, like, I can completely understand why a guy would want to go to LSU and play, under him. I get it. But it was about his coaching staff, man. It was about, like, Joe Brady and, and all these other people, and Joe Burrow. Like, it was the people that was around him. And in my opinion, made him look better than what he actually was. I'm not saying that Ed Orgeron can't coach college football. He can. But I'm saying is, I think he middle of the pack, maybe, when it comes to head coaching. History will probably say otherwise because he won a national championship. But I just think that if you have players and you have a good coaching staff, and your coaching staff is willing to coach the heck out of these players and get the best out of them, I think that you should be fine. Yes, I do feel like there's going to be a void missing, and it's probably going to be pretty obvious in some games. Well, we knew that Sean Payton would have called this play or called that play, but if you got the right coaching staff, and the Saints have had the right coaching staff, under Sean Payton, these guys have proven, that they're a really good team, and they can make those second half adjustments in order for them to be able to get over the hump to win the game. So sometimes, when coaches may not be as special or as talented as coaching as others, you have to rely on a really good coaching staff that's around you in order to get the best out of those players. It's not just about the head coach. Head coach is important, but at the same time, anybody that runs a business, or you ever been like a manager, like my last job in the past, and I mentioned this before, I was a store manager, right? And I was fortunate enough throughout my time, man, I've won like several awards and all these achievements that I have, but I don't think I would win those awards. Well, probably, it's not probably. I wouldn't win those awards if I didn't have a real strong team around me. And it starts with the hiring process, right? If you ever was in management, especially if you're in retail, if you starting out, you going to one of the worst stores or the worst businesses possible, and your job is to turn that store or that business around. And sometimes, it causes you to have to go out there and find the right people, and finding the right people will help you see the vision. They will buy into the vision, and you can turn the business into something that everybody wants their business to be. Same way with head coaching. You get hired as a head coach, but you get yourself the right team around you in order for your team to be successful. So if he does that, I think he should be fine. I'm going to stroll down just a little bit. Thank y'all for being here. Appreciate that. 149 people watching us live right now. ask that you hit the like button. If you're here, please hit the like button. Also, if you have not already, please subscribe to the channel. I'm calling it Davenport plays minimum 14 games this year. Well, let's hope so, man. It's so unfortunate that a guy this talented just can't stay on the field. It's so unfortunate because if this dude can have like the longevity or win the battle of attrition like Cam Jordan has done throughout his career, like the dude can be like one of the most dominant players in football. He's that good. But the thing about it is, he's always hurt, and he's not. I don't want to say he's always hurt, but for the most part, he's not available. And you can be really, really good, but people in the back of their mind, they're not going to really want to buy into you because they're afraid that it's only a matter of time before you're not out there. So hopefully he can get it together. Understandably so, why he not out there, having shoulder surgery and getting your finger amputated. I mean, my goodness. It's just his throwing the long ball. It looks like a duck or a punt. Yeah, he can do wildcat and run. Yeah, I mean, you can use them. You can find ways to use Taysom. They've used them over the last 5+ years. So you know that you can use them. All I'm saying is, on a down-by-down basis, I can't see that happening, I don't want to just have a quarterback that I just hope that he can do well. I want a quarterback that I know without a shadow of a doubt he can do well. That's what I want. I want to be comfortable. I don't want to, like, if he throw a 25-yard pass down the seam, I'm shot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to be able to know that the quarterback has that ability and be able to put up big yards. I'm not sure about that with Taysom. I'm not sure that Taysom can go out there and go toe-to-toe, with some of the best if the Saints need him to. I mean, history has shown us he can't. So, let me see. There is no linebacker, maybe besides Micah, that can keep up with Taysom matchup. Yeah. I mean, look, they got some talented linebackers in the league. They've got some guys out there. And as the years go by, you're probably going to start seeing really good cover linebackers because these dudes are freaks of nature. And Micah Parsons is just kind of the tip of the iceberg, of what is going to come when it comes to linebackers. Like, if you've been watching some of these guys out here, man, these linebackers are really, really good. Like, Pete Warner, to me, is a really good cover linebacker. I mean, I don't know if people have had an appreciation for him yet, but I think that this season, some people that may not have this level of appreciation for Pete Warner are probably going to have it. He was really good in covering tight ends and running backs when he was at Ohio State, and he did a really good job when he was in a game. That's one of the main reasons why people are asking, well, why they don't sign Quan Alexander, because he almost made Quan Alexander expendable. How talented and how quick he was developing as a player. So I think that he is going to show a lot of people how talented he is at the linebacker position. Jules says, what do you think about the anonymous defensive coordinator criticism of Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson? Well, I think that's a cop-out. If you got something to say it with your chest. Don't be throwing a brick and hiding your hand. They can say whatever they want to say about him. These are two guys that have won league MVP. For 1 year, they were the best player in football. And some people would even say that Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football. So I don't understand the whole angle about Lamar Jackson and, Lamar Jackson, he can't throw. Lamar Jackson, he can't go toe-to-toe with the NFL elite, all this kind of stuff. But what he was doing in his rookie year and the second year, it was working for y'all then, right? We made it work. It was good. All that kind of stuff was going down, right? Y'all was happy with him. Now all of a sudden you want to critique his game. Now it's time to pay a guy. Look, I don't know if anybody noticed this or not. And look, I might make some people mad, but it is what it is. It just seems like to me about 98% of the time when you start evaluating black quarterbacks, when it's time for them to get paid, they start looking at everything that they do under a microscope. Like, when Dak Prescott, offensive rookie of the year, doing all these things, late game heroics. You know what I'm saying? Like running people over, truck stick, and all that kind of stuff. Cowboys in the playoffs more times with Dak almost what they was with Romo. Then all of a sudden when it's time to get paid, oh, he damn is good. I don't know if he can come back from this. Then all of a sudden, you know, Kyler Murray, he sleep in a film room, or he not watching game tape. Lamar Jackson, all he want to do is run around. He don't want to throw the football. Like all these different things coming up. I mean, you can even say with like Cam. They was talking about Cam soaking on the sidelines, you know, with a towel over his head. Like all these different things that they come up with to, and you know, let's not be oblivious to what's going on here, folks. You know, these organizations know, and I said this last night on the last episode. These organizations know that they have a powerful ally, and that is the media. The media is their ally. The media can put stuff out here and make a player look like he's just the worst person in the whole wide world. They can. They can make a player, they can make your favorite player look like the biggest bad guy, and some of us fall for a hook, line, and sinker. And they know that. All I'm saying is, if this dude wasn't it, you knew it, right? If Kyler Murray was falling asleep or not watching game film or not watching game tape or not breaking down offenses, you know what I mean, defenses of rival teams and all that kind of stuff, then it takes you to his contract year for you to find that out. That's all I'm saying. If Lamar Jackson was just a run-first quarterback and that's all he can do and he can't play the quarterback position at a high level, why would you wait for a contract year for you to be talking about his imperfections? Why try to go out here and try to find something else? You know, you can be like, oh, I mean, they did it with Tebow, didn't he? Tebow was winning games, right? But everybody was like, man, you know, he ain't it. But Lamar Jackson, you wait until his contract year after you basically got all these different wins and he been taking you to the playoffs and they've been in contention. Now all of a sudden it's time to pay the guy. Now all of a sudden, like he ain't good enough to throw the football. Something is wrong here. That's all I gotta say. Something is wrong here. It just seems like it just seems like it's always a problem when it's time for these guys to get paid. It's always, oh man, you know, where they did drop that pass back in week 8, they could have won the game. Like, nah, bro. Pay these dudes what they deserve. These dudes are giving you wins. Only one team can win a Super Bowl. Only one. You know what I'm saying? If this guy is proven that he can win games, he's a leader of men, teammates follow him, and they believe in him and they buy into him, pay the man. Hoodie Jew, thank you very much for the 199. Says 137 watching and only 30 likes. Smack the like button. Well, I appreciate that, man. Right now, we got 173 people watching. So if you have not already, subscribe. And if you have not already, hit that like button. But I don't care, man. I mean, it has to be said. There's something going on, man. It's like this every time. You know, they always like critiquing these guys and stopping, you know, and it's always around the contract year. How long does it take for you to look at a guy and be like, man, this dude, I mean, he winning games, but this ain't the scheme I want. This ain't the type of direction I want to go in. Like, don't just wait till the guy has a contract in, then start throwing salt on his name because his play was good enough when he was on the rookie deal, right? Any Madden players in here? I wonder if anybody uploaded the roster with the free agent signing and the draft picks yet. I want to see everybody's ranking. Nah, I'm a Madden player. I get Madden every single year. It's not going to be an exception this year. I'm going to go ahead and get that Madden, but I don't know. Madden got to do something different, man. The game looking the same every single year. There's very little difference between the games. The gameplay is pretty much, you know, I mean, it's just exactly the same. And I don't know, man. I maybe if they had some more competition, it'll make them feel like they need to put a better product. I just feel like complacency comes when you feel like you're the only game in town, literally and figuratively, you know. I just think they need to do better. I think if 2K was making games, to be quite honest with you, if 2K start making NFL simulated games, I don't think EA Sports going to be able to rebound. Because here's the thing. If you grew up in the 90s, you grew up around the time when Madden football first came out. And then it became like a cult classic. But now these kids now, man, they don't know who John Madden is. They don't know John Madden from Steve Madden, right? So if 2K comes out and they're like, okay, we're going to make an NFL simulated game, guess what? You know, you probably going to have more people buying that game because it's going to be in that same category when NBA Live came out on EA Sports and then you had 2K. Like, people don't buy NBA Live. People laugh at you if you got Live, you know, if you buy Live over 2K, right? So that's the way I look at it, you know. So they better continue to sign these contracts and sign, you know, extensions with the NFL for them to be the only game in town, because I'm telling you, if the NFL decides to be like what the NBA was doing and allow like different game outlets to make NFL simulated games, I think it's going to be the end of Madden. And they're going to have to really turn some things around to get people back interested in that game. Because right now, it's just people just playing it. It's not because it's just so fun to play. It's because it's like the only game in town. I'm just ready to wake these top media people up and can't wait for them to try and jump on our whole Who Dat train. Can't wait to see our boys come together and do things this year. Look, man, I don't think that I said this before. The media knows how good the New Orleans Saints is. I just think the Saints are just not part of that status quo. And you know, it's not so much about them not recognizing the greatness of the Saints. It's about ratings at the end of the day. It's television, folks. If people aren't watching, then most likely your favorite TV show is not going to be on the air. And when guys every single quarter, they look at ratings jump and spikes, right? I mean, it's pretty interesting to see. But for each segment, they have like ratings, and it tells you like when a person is tuned in, when a person changed the channel, how long they were watching. And when you start looking at certain things like, oh, when Stephen A. Smith put on that cowboy hat and he had the cigar in his mouth talking about the Cowboys, the ratings went to the roof. But then all of a sudden you start talking about Trevor Lawrence and the Jaguars, we went down. So let's, instead of like talking about other NFL teams, let's add an extra spot for the Cowboys, especially if they lose. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. It's television. So, you know, and they also do a really good job at making other teams irrelevant in the eyes of the general public. Like, for example, if you're a Jacksonville Jaguar fan, you want to hear about the Jags, right? So if the Jags are winning, right? If the Jags are winning, everybody's excited about it in Jacksonville. But at the same time, everybody don't, you know what I'm saying, really caring about Jacksonville, because Jacksonville is really just known as not being really that good that much, right? So they're not going to say, okay, Jacksonville on this hot streak, or let's just say if they won 6-7 games, oh, let's go ahead and plug them over the Cowboys. No, they're not going to do that, right? But what they will do is they'll say something like, oh, man, they're on a 7-8 game winning streak. I've seen this before. You remember when they had Blake Bortles? They went to the AFC Championship game and lost. They had all that talent. They can beat Pittsburgh. They had Big Ben throwing 6 interceptions in a game. They're going to make the team seem irrelevant or their achievements irrelevant, so it just seems like it's just a waste of time to talk about them. I think they do the same thing with the Saints, you know, and they do that so they can, you know, find time to fit their own narratives into that particular spot. The moment when you're supposed to be talking about a team on a hot streak, we're going to go ahead and talk about this that we know we about to generate some ratings with. We're going to talk about the NFC East, right? We're going to talk about Aaron Rodgers showing up in some Wrangler jeans and a wife beater. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to talk about that type of stuff because that generates excitement, that generates ratings. It's about ratings, people. It's not about facts. It's not about talent. It's not about who has the best potential for being a champion. It's about who people are paying attention to, and those shareholders that are out there continue to buy and invest stock in that particular company. That what moves the needle. Roderick, thank you very much for the $5. Says, do you think NFL Game Day and NFL Game Break on PlayStation? I assume you're asking me, did I play them? Yeah, I did. NFL Game Day was one of my favorite games. Game Breaker was very underrated as a video game. But I used to enjoy when they had like different NFL simulated games because, you know, it was just fun to play, right? And I played Madden, you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, you had other choices out there. Like NFL 2K, to me, NFL 2K5 was probably the best NFL game made. And I don't think it's just, I'm saying that because of nostalgia purposes. I really did. I think that the people that made that game really did a good job at bringing that game together and paying attention to details. And it also just kind of, you know, was the fire starter for the games that we have on 2K. That, you know, they pay attention to the little stuff on 2K. Like when it comes to Madden, like you look in the crowd, like the crowd look a little real and all that kind of stuff, but they basically doing the same thing. Like on 2K, you'll probably see somebody walking up and down the stairs. You'll see somebody, you know what I'm saying, fumbling with popcorn, trying to get back to their seat. You know, like it's little stuff like that. Like if you go out of bounds, right? You know, if you go out of bounds and somebody like a cameraman or something like that is on the floor, you'll trip over them, have to go around them. It's stuff like that that makes games better instead of like just the same old thing every single time. Like I said this before, I was joking. Like how many times are we going to see like under the celebration of Alvin Kamara, signature celebration is him ripping the chin straps off? I have never, like honestly, I have never seen Alvin Kamara like celebrate where he just rips the, you know what I'm saying, his chin strap off in excitement. I've never seen that. Maybe y'all did, but I didn't. Honestly, I don't even think Alvin Kamara doesn't even have a trademark signature celebration. Like we seen him make snow angels. You know what I'm saying? We seen him do the, you know what I'm saying, the 5 touchdown, you know what I'm saying, little dance, bop or whatever. I mean, you got to pay attention to that stuff. It just lazy to me. It's just lazy. But see what else we got. Peyton Turner could make the Saints front four a nightmare if he can stay healthy and consistent. The things coaching Nielsen and Richard can do with all the pieces they have. Well, I think that Nielsen and Richard can be really good coaches, defensive coordinators. I always say that Chris Richard, to me, is one of the most underrated coordinators in the league. Dude don't get enough credit for being a really good coach. Everywhere a team starts to improve defensively, he's somewhere around it. We talk about the Legion of Boom. People give Quinn, you know what I'm saying? They give Quinn all the credit, Dan Quinn. They give him all the credit for being the coordinator of the Seahawks. But Chris Richard was right there. You know what I'm saying? He was around that thing coaching that secondary. The Dallas Cowboys, Rod Marinelli. You know, when they had Jalen Smith and Lathan Vander Esch and had them boys out there running wild. Their defense was like top notch. He was there. Okay? Then when he leaves, think about this, folks. He leaves, and then comes Mike Nolan. That defense took like 4-5 steps back, right? But he's nowhere around. The Saints, he comes to the Saints. Now all of a sudden, like the secondary playing lights out. Defense probably one of the best in the league. Like, do y'all feel like that's a coincidence that every place that he went, the defense has been one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the NFL? So, look, they've had some really good coaches, right? But I'm just saying like this. Okay, Dan Quinn leaves Seattle after they won that Super Bowl to coach the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Falcons did go to the Super Bowl where they proceeded to throw a 25-point lead away. But at any time when Dan Quinn was with the Atlanta Falcons, have they ever had a lights-out defense? Seriously, if that's your calling card, when have you ever seen the Atlanta Falcons have a lights-out defense? Rod Marinelli coached the sorry, pathetic Detroit Lions, the 0-16 coach, right? Tell me, outside of the Dallas Cowboys, when did Rod Marinelli have a lights-out defense? Anywhere he went. But if you add Chris Richard, if you add him in there, everywhere he's been, that team has been a top 10 defense. Now, is that a coincidence? I think not. I mean, think about it. Think about this, man. I ain't not like Dan Quinn ain't never had the Atlanta Falcons as like a vaunted defense. Rob Marinelli ain't never had no vaunted defenses nowhere. Middle of the pack. Heck, to a certain degree, I mean, we seen little nuggets of success, but even with Dennis Allen. You know what I'm saying? Dennis Allen, a good, really good coordinator, but the Saints wasn't like a top 10 defense. Like they were decent the year before Chris Shaw came, but last year it was like on a whole different level. It was like a whole different level of talent and the way that they played defense. It was like, okay, it was to a point where when Dennis Allen was like kind of around, he was like kind of just, there. You had moments where the Saints like generated turnovers and stuff like that, but at the same time, we still had in our back of our mind, don't throw the ball downfield. It's going to be a pass interference. Y'all remember like the Saints led the NFL and, in pass interference calls. It was like it was around week 8, week 9, and I mean the Saints were like leaps and bounds ahead of everybody else when it came to penalties. So I don't think it's a coincidence that everywhere Chris Bouchard went, where he was the assistant coach, the team ended up being top 10, top 5 defense. I mean, a lot of these guys been in the league a long time, and they ain't had that before he got there. Mr. Ryan Jensen is down. I hate to see it, but even with such a blow to Tampa, people are going to just look over that because they have time. Yeah, man, look, I heard Ryan Jensen got hurt. I know Ryan Jensen is not a fan favorite of the New Orleans Saints, but I don't want to see anybody get hurt. I ain't trying to see nobody get hurt, man. That's unfortunate. I don't know, man. Does Ryan Jensen still play for the Buccaneers, or does he play for the Bengals? What's one of those guys end up going to the Bengals? Was it Ryan Jensen? Oh, it was another. It was another guy. I'm looking this up right now. Okay, he went for. There's another Tampa Bay Buccaneer offensive lineman that ended up going to the Bengals. I can't think of his name though. I thought that may have been. I know when Capel was it. I think he ended up retiring, right? Tano says Madden 23 looks like they made major improvements. Man, they say that every single year. Yeah, Capel. Okay, that's Capel. Tano, yeah, they say that every single year. Man, look, the one improvement that they'll make is a jump cut or something. You know what I'm saying? Like that'll be the one improvement. The game will look exactly the same. They might add one improvement, and that's a jump cut or something. Or a quarterback throwing a no-look pass. Like, they ain't good enough for me, man. I just think that, I think some of the best games, they become masterpieces. Like, one of my favorite games outside of sports games is Red Dead Redemption. Rockstar made it, same people that made Grand Theft Auto. It's the attention to details that make the game special. I'm not expecting a Rockstar type game because it takes those guys years and a bunch of maps and, like different things to kind of illustrate that game. But the attention to the details is important when you're trying to create a video game that people can enjoy. And you can't just phone it in. And I just think that a lot of the little cut scenes, Madden really just tries to do, like guys running out the tunnel. They want that, make that look as real as possible. And they neglect the actual product that people are enjoying, which is the play on the field. Like a guy getting tackled, getting up, yeah, that look realistic, him running back to the huddle, but I mean the gameplay is not that good. I think you have to improve, man, especially like when you getting all this money, man. You should get all this. You should be able to get as much the most up-to-date technology as you possibly can. So that's the way I feel about that. It's funny because we've been complaining about Madden for years and we still buy it every year. That's because of the nostalgic aspect, and we like the NFL. We like the NFL. It's like if you stay in a certain community, they got one store and the people mean. You know what I'm saying? You still going to go to that store because that's the only thing you can get to. Is rather that or you have to go 15, 20 miles down the road. And that's fine. Some people be like, I'll go 15, 20 miles down the road. But what happens when a guy don't have a car? Can you get to the store? No. You know what I'm saying? So you kind of have to take what you can get. And that's how it is. It's rather Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, they know that. You can complain all you want to. You can say all these different things, but they know for a fact if you want to play NFL simulated football, you have to buy our game. You know, and I just think that there's a lazy aspect, you know, a lazy aspect when it comes to it now, because it's like they know that and they're acting as if it is that, you know. I think they try, but I think that they don't try as hard as somebody that just out here that really just want your money because they know that they're going to get it any way it goes. They know they are, regardless, right? We can say and complain about the Madden ratings, and we can talk about, oh, you know what I'm saying, like they did this wrong, that wrong, but we still going to buy it. But I don't feel like they should just phone it in just because of that. Barbara, is that the game when Reggie Bush caught a screen pass for 70 yards for a touchdown? I believe that was a Sunday night game. Are we talking about the Cowboys? We talking about the Cowboys. Yeah, that was a game. It was a Sunday night football game when Bill Parcells was the coach at that time. That was a while back. I'm going to stroll back up. I'm going to take a few more, then we're going to go ahead and get up out of here. I already mentioned the one about Ryan Jensen. Do anybody remember Joe Montana football? Yeah, Joe Montana Sports Talk football. That was one of the first games where you actually had commentary. Pat Summerall was the commentator on that game. I don't know what they was doing with that because Pat Summerall, God bless his soul, that man was really boring. Okay, you know, he put you to sleep. His dry delivery, you know, I'm pretty sure was a good back in the 1970s and stuff like that when you didn't have to be all animated and excited. I think John Madden kind of changed, since we talking about John Madden, that's crazy, right? John Madden kind of changed the way, you know, commentators actually did the game. It was kind of monotone, not too much excitement, you know, probably towards the end of the game or something like that when you got the Holy Roller play with Kenny Stabler and you know, Casper, you know, like guys like that, but it wasn't too much excitement. So they kind of changed that. But Pat Summerall was like the first voiceover on a sports video game, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong, but I think it was. I've seen more games when Mike T takes over than AK. No slight at AK though. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I don't know about that with Back to Black and Gold. I don't know. I think they kind of on the same level. For every game, I can remember when Michael Thomas could have had 3 touchdowns in the game versus the Jets, but he kept on. He couldn't drag his foot in the back of the end zone. Like, this dude would have had like 3 touchdowns, and they called like 2 of his touchdowns back because they said he stepped out of bounds. That was one of his most dominant games. Another game was the Minnesota Vikings game in the divisional round when the Saints were behind. And, you know, that's when he started stepping up, man, started putting foots into Xavier Rhodes. I'm talking Michael Thomas here. I can remember. I feel like even with that Rams game, I think he kind of came on towards the end. I don't feel like that was just too much of a dominating performance. The game where he played against the Atlanta Falcons when he had a hurt ankle, and the game when he played against Tampa Bay and he went 100 yards with a hurt ankle. Those are a few games that just kind of stand out. I mean, Alvin Kamara, to me, I can remember the game versus Tampa. Like one of his first games, I know y'all remember, like when they thought he had him down on the ground and he got back, you know what I'm saying? He got up, you know what I'm saying, and made that touchdown look pretty effortless. The game versus the New York Giants when he ran into the tunnel on that 70-yard touchdown. The game versus Seattle. Game 1 back in 2018 versus the Houston Texans. He was like unbelievable in that game. Man, it's been a couple games. I think both of these guys have been so important. It's almost like tit for tat when it comes to like production and the importance of taking over a game. I think both of these guys, like, I think it's pretty much a tie. Like I said, for every New York Jets game, you know, there's that Seattle game. For every Rams game, you know, there's that Houston Texan game. Both of these guys did good. I mean, also, you know, I'd be remiss to not mention the Christmas Day game against Minnesota with the 6 touchdowns. So, I mean, it's hard to sit up here and be like, man, one had, one take over more than the other. They kind of like neck and neck. They very important. They're very important to one another, and they're very important to the success of this team. And I'm glad that Michael Thomas is back out there. Alvin Kamara held us down the last 2 years, basically our only weapon. That's what I'm saying. You ain't winning some of them games without AK out there. CJ Spiller, a wheel route in overtime against Dallas in 2015. Correct me if I'm wrong. Oh, CJ Spiller, yeah. The game, the touchdown to end that game. Drew Brees, that was a good play by Drew Brees. There was a linebacker change. I want to say linebacker left the game, and the backup linebacker came in. Drew Brees spotted that, audible into that wheel route, and threw it to C.J. Spiller for that touchdown. That guy was out of place. I think Sean Lee left the game. I think he was out the game or something. I don't know if he got hurt or, I mean, that sounds like story of Sean Lee's career, unfortunately. But yeah, they end up doing the substitution, and Drew Brees exploited it. 2017 versus the Panthers, both regular season games, outshined by CMC. That's not his fault. They ain't playing each other. They ain't playing each other. That's the Saints defense going up against Carolina's, and AK is going up against Carolina's defense. So it's not like we playing basketball here and we guarding each other. So that's kind of like on the Saints. That's an indictment on the Saints defense, not Alvin Kamara. So, and we could talk about. I mean, we act like Chris McCaffrey is trash or something. I mean, no disrespect to Demario Davis, but man, shoot, he makes him look mediocre in some cases. Like before he got hurt, y'all remember that game, the second game of the season? The Saints played Carolina. I mean, Chris McCaffrey was out there doing them boys dirty. It wasn't just Zach Bourne he was out there doing dirty. Shoot. I mean, Demario Davis couldn't keep up with him either. And, we know how special Demario is. So the same look, I look at Chris McCaffrey in the same light I look at Alvin Kamara. I think that if you switch these two dudes out, I'm serious. I feel like you switch these two dudes out, we wouldn't. Carolina wouldn't miss Christian, and we probably wouldn't miss Alvin. Probably, now that we I'm just now you will have to suspend the fact that you have a relationship or or some type of attachment to Alvin. But I'm just saying, if the Saints would have drafted Christian McCaffrey and then you had Alvin Kamara being drafted by Carolina, I guarantee you probably wouldn't be like, man, I wish we had him. They kind of, they both are really special players. So that's the way I look at them both exactly the same. I think that they both are really, really beneficial to their teams. Kamara got a few years left. The Saints need to draft his replacement soon. Running back age quickly. Man, come on, man. Alvin Kamara just turned 27 years old. And this last year was really like his first true year where he was like the starting running back. Well, I guess, I guess you can go back to like when Mark first left. But I guess you can say his third year. So this is like his third year being the featured back. It ain't that time yet, man. It ain't that time. There's nothing that shows me that Alvin Kamara is slowing down. There's nothing about that. Every time this dude on the field, he's making plays. I think that we have to be careful, man. I get it, but I mean, this dude just turned 27 years old. Both are important. We definitely need the running game badly, and AK-41 is my favorite Saints player. Hoping he gets suspended early so he can get back to the team. Yeah, if he gets suspended at all, yeah, I definitely wanted to go ahead and get this over with. The question is, would CMC be healthier here? Well, look, once again, suspend the fact that we have an attachment to AK, and if both of them had like the same level of attrition, I honestly feel like you wouldn't care about Alvin Kamara. I mean, no disrespect to him, but I'm just saying, how good Chris McCaffrey is, you would not care. You would not care about Alvin Kamara as much as you do if Chris McCaffrey was on this team. I mean, the same way you feel about Alvin Kamara would be the same way you feel about Chris McCaffrey. So, let's see. Kamara going to be around another 5 to 7 years with the Saints. Do a good job of protecting their investment. We got always have a two-back system. Saints always had a two-back system, which I feel like all teams need to have. You always have like a guy who can be air down back and then change a pace back. And you also need a guy, who can do a little bit of both in case one of the guys go down. CMC just injury prone due to his size. Well, he just started to become this way, man, over the last couple of years. A couple of years ago, man, he was up there putting up numbers not even a great Jim Brown could put up, right? He was being mentioned in the same, he was mentioned just as much as Jim Brown was, you know what I'm saying? Like he was mentioned in the same breath with Jim Brown. So the Saints don't have another back that's a receiving threat like Alvin. Do you have any suggestions in free agency? No, I do not. I don't. You're not going to replace Alvin Kamara's production. It is what it is. Alvin Kamara is the best pass-catching running back in the NFL. I stand by that. Closest person probably to him is Saquon Barkley. Like him and Saquon, and then you can throw in Christian McCaffrey too. But I still feel like Alvin is better than Christian. Chris McCaffrey, I mean, Dad was the great Ed McCaffrey. I mean, that's beneficial. I would hope you know how to catch. Your dad was pretty doggone good in his own right for the Broncos. But, yeah, I think that Alvin Kamara is the best pass-catching running back. And I think Saquon is second. And I think Christian McCaffrey may be third. Saquon, people don't really pay that much attention to him because of his history of being injured. But that dude is a really good pass-catching running back. Like, really good. Like, I think if Saquon could play receiver, tight end, he'll be probably, like, really, really good. It's y'all like the Kamara and Mike T. My favorite Saint is number 93, David Onyemata, a.k.a. On Your Mama. Yeah, man, David Onyemata, I mean, really talented, very underrated player. He doesn't get the respect he deserves for being a pretty dominant interior lineman, which is understandable. I mean, when you got Fletcher Cox and you play in the same conference as Aaron Donald, so I mean, I can understand why. But I mean, the guy is talented, and we're lucky to have him. Abram Smith could be a diamond in a rough running back that Sean Payton makes him deadly, sneaky, dangerous like Pierre Thomas and Chris Ivory. You never know. Well, you never know what a guy can do until, you put the pads on and you see him out there in real time. I hope that everything pans out with Abram Smith. The Saints gave him some decent money as an undrafted free agent. Normally they don't give guys that type of money. But we'll see, man. We'll see. I'm going to answer these last three, and then we'll get out of here. McCaffrey is quicker than Alvin, but he's injury prone. Yeah, he is quicker than Alvin. I'll give him that. I mean, Christian McCaffrey has always been talented. He's been talented since Stanford, man. I mean, I watched this dude in college. I mean, it's pretty obvious that he was going to be something special. Quick, yeah. I just think they're on the same playing field. I really do. I think they're on the same level when it comes to like the type of player that they are. I mean, I really just have a lot of respect. I mean, I know he played for the Panthers, but I got a lot of respect for Chris McCaffrey and his talent. And you got to, especially like when he makes some of the best linebackers, and some of the best slot receivers look mediocre when they guard them. Dalvin Cook, to me, in the same company with those running backs you mentioned, TJ. Yeah, Dalvin Cook, I'll throw him in there too, but I don't know, man. You gotta watch Saquon, and you gotta watch Alvin. They like, man, them dudes, like, they catch the ball so naturally. Dalvin, he catches the ball naturally too. I have appreciation for him. When I watched him in college, he caught a lot of passes in stride. I guess you can put him in there as well, but I still feel like Saquon, Chris McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, like top three. Dalvin, I wouldn't be mad if you probably put him in your top three, but I just have I just have a lot of respect for those guys catching the ball. I look at it like naturally catching it, like almost like, you know what I'm saying, like a wide receiver. Not just, like just kind of reeling it in. Like they look like they could be wide receivers out there. TJ, another player we kind of overlook is our punter. Talking about Blake Gillikin. Consistently flips field position along, pinning teams back inside the 5. A lot of 3 and outs. Didn't he make the Pro Bowl? No, he didn't make the Pro Bowl. He didn't make the Pro Bowl because I want to say it was the punter. Rather, it was from the 49ers or the Rams. End up out beating him. But, yeah, he is a great asset to have. The game that kind of stood out to me was the game versus the Washington then football team when he was pinning those punts back at the 4-yard line. Dude did so good, he was able to talk to the media after after the game. Like, you was balling if you're a punter and you get to talk to the media when it's all said and done. Don't forget about Atlanta stud running back number 84, Cordell Patterson. I wouldn't ice cream man. I wouldn't consider him a running back, even though he plays that position. That he is, he almost like a Taysom Hill. I know he is. His primary position is a wide receiver, which is understandably why, or I can understand why I should say, he can catch the ball at the backfield as good as he can because he played wide receiver. So yeah, Cordell Patterson, yeah, he definitely is like that Alvin Kamara, Chris McCaffrey category. I know I'm sick of him. Every time he played the Saints, he a nuisance to the Saints too, to be honest. And we'll end it with Barb says, punters get overlooked. Look how long it took for Ray Guy, the best ever, to make the Hall of Fame. Yeah, unfortunately, people don't look at special teams players like kickers and long snappers and punters as football players. But I think they should have, some level of respect. I mean, those guys are important, especially like when it comes to like field position. And definitely with kickers. I mean, what we went through last year as a fan base watching Rosas and Cody Parkey and all these other guys just parade through the door only for them to go wide right, wide left, not even close. Like, you got to have an appreciation for the kicking game. You don't really pay attention to it until it's painstakingly obvious that you need to do something about it. And you don't have an appreciation for it until that actually happens. So I do think those guys need to get the credit that they deserve. And hopefully one day they will, especially the way the Hall of Fame is going these days. What Cam Jordan mentioned at his last press conference, he was talking about the Hall of Fame and how it seemed like anybody getting in there these days. But I want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast. Really do appreciate it. Hope the State of the Saints podcast was enjoyable to you. And if it was, I ask that you hit the like button. Also, if you have not already, if this is your first time or you've been on the fence about the show, I just encourage you to hit the subscription button. We're trying to grow the show one subscriber at a time, and really do appreciate everybody listening. Shouts out to everybody that commented. I'm going to be doing an interview that I'm going to be posting later on this evening or later on tonight. I'm going to be talking with Dr. Jesse Morris. He was on the show a while back talking about some of the injuries, and I want to talk to him about a couple of the Saints players and that was dealing with injuries and get a little bit of an understanding about what those guys are going through and probably the time expectancy where we can see those guys being back to close to 100%. So keep it locked right here to the State of Saints podcast for all your New Orleans Saints content. Previous episodes available on iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Anchor FM. Also, you can check out the State of the Saints podcast on Facebook, facebook.com, search the State of the Saints podcast. Till next time, all I got to say is, who dat?